Hey, Kirk Voklane with the Pro Forum here. We got Tom Usher, Usher Photography, and he's our current Artist of the Month on the proforum.com. And yeah, awesome. So I figured I'd start out by saying, how did you get into this business? And let's just spend a little while with Tom just to connect. So there you go. Tell us how is it that you're so wonderful?
Well, clearly, you just got to go and read my Fall of the House of Usher, or not fall, it hasn't fallen yet. Go to the House of Usher thread. But really, photography has been something that's been a part of my life since I was a kid. I'm one of those people that don't necessarily believe in fate, but the older I get, the tougher it is to ignore it. Somehow my life has driven me around to photography all the time. I started out with a darkroom when I was in 7th grade. The first money I ever made was working at a church camp, where I was making little black and white pictures for everybody at church camp. And then I made pictures for school and all of that. And then I went to college and discovered girls and beer and all that. And didn't do that much photography, but I got a graphic design degree and took all the photo classes I could. There wasn't a lot available there, so I did a lot of independent studies. And then I got a job as a designer. That also was a place that had photography, so that was really exciting to me. I got to see some of the commercial aspects of it. And then in the 90s, the computers hit the photography industry, the design industry, much like digital is hitting the photography industry now. And so I decided to go into teaching full-time. I had been teaching design classes part-time at the University of Akron. And just through a weird happenstance, I ended up teaching art and photography. In fact, the first class I ever taught was a photography class. And then I got a job at a different district where I taught art and photography. But then when the other photography teacher left and I took over the program, it blew up. In fact, there were 7 periods of the day. And at one time, there was 7 periods of photography where another teacher had to teach 2 periods.
Wow. Cool.
And they stopped doing that, though, because the other kids who got the other teacher were pissed off because they didn't have Mr. Usher. I mean, yeah.
The cool guy.
So, and then through a weird happenstance, I met a guy who was shooting weddings part-time, and he hooked me up with the guy he was shooting for. And I learned how to do that first with Mamiya 645 camera, so I was shooting film.
Film, 4-letter words.
And then I worked with a little nicer place in town and started to work with Hasselblads, and then started to do some portraiture. And then started doing this crap. And I've had my small studio here for about 7 years now. And I was doing that with teaching at the same time. And that was killing me because I had a 50-minute commute. So I'd go and teach, come home, and then I'd either shoot, sell, or edit. And it was driving me crazy. So when I started getting a little bit of bored of education, and frankly, they were getting a little bit bored of me because I was run around like a chicken with my head cut off, I thought I'd do this full time. So
awesome.
It's been 3 years since I've been away from education, and I do miss the benefits from time to time. Snow days are meaningless now.
You still got to work.
I guess you don't get a lot of snow days down there in Homa.
What's
but in
snow?
Ohio, we get a lot. So, and I just have a small studio space. It's about, about 1,500 square feet. My camera room's about 1,000 square feet, and then I have a little sales room and a little production room.
Awesome.
And I'm building a lot of outdoor sets right now.
Yeah, cool. And where are you doing the outdoor? Just like right around the studio, right around the little...
Well, it's really cool. I am, Medina is a little small town, and they have a beautiful square. And actually, I don't go up to the square. They got a gorgeous gazebo and such, but I don't go up there because that's where all the weekend warriors go, and that's okay. Also, I don't like to have people in the background, and I don't like to shoot where I don't have permission. So I have a small barn in the back of my property that I built some sets on. And then I have some neighbors that have some cool architecture around it, and I built sets around there too. And then just this year, I started renting the backyard of one of my neighbors, and I actually go through a little hole in the fence to their backyard, and that way I can have some places that are a little more exclusive. And then I have a little short drive down the way to some farmland, and there I have, if you saw the pictures with that big old funky truck, this little old lady named Mary has this farm space, and she lets me shoot there. And one day I was there with a pretty girl in and amongst the weeds taking pictures, and she walked over and she says, I've got this old truck. Do you want to come and look at it? And I was like, old truck. Yeah. So I go in there, and I was going to post a thread about this, but I never did. This truck was buried in weeds up to here, 3 trees growing out the side of it, And it took me about a day and a half to dig the thing out, but that's been a lot of fun to be able to go and use that now. There's no possible way I could move it. It's a huge international harvester, but it's nice to be able to drive over there and use that from time
It's
to
like
time.
gold, man. Old trucks and seniors. It's like
Oh,
print money.
I can't even open the doors. That's where I tried to open the doors. I'm afraid it's just going to fall off. And,
Yeah.
well, yours is falling apart
Yep.
completely. So I could end up with that sooner or later.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing. I mean, I first met you at, what was it? I think Sync, right? First time I actually.
Well, that's the first time we met face to
Face to
face.
face.
Yeah, I joined. When did I join the forum? In 2006, I think?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. I had been on the Digital Whiting Forum, and that's where I met Tim Schooler. And that's when Tim first started doing his thing. And I was like, oh, this is what it can look like?
Yeah.
And Tim said, look, you got to come over to this other place there. And this was, I think, I don't know, when did the forum start?
It's been around for 20 years now. I know most people go, really? It's been around that long?
Really?
No, really. Yeah. The Pro Forum started at a SPI convention, and I think it was like the second convention or something that
That's
they
right.
ever had. And it was like
That's right. I heard the story.
yeah, there was a gang of us in the room, and I was like, man, I learned so much in that hotel room. And I said, why don't we do this like on the internet? And so I went home and created like a little website, and then it grew and grew and grew, and it became what it is today. So yeah, but it's been 20 years, and I always remember how old it is because like that was the same year my daughter was born. So it's like I had two babies that year.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
That's
So,
cool.
Yeah, but anyway,
Well, Tim pointed me here, and when I started looking and seeing what all the other stuff, and at that time, that Tim Schooler's work was the only thing I'd ever seen like that.
Yeah.
And then I saw your work, and then so many others. I don't want to start mentioning them because I'll leave somebody out and then hurt someone's feelings. I don't want to do that. But it's been great, and everyone I know who gets involved with photography in one way or the other, I point them here because I consider it idiot insurance. Anytime I'm having trouble with something with the computer or my camera or my business, I go here and they help me out. And it's also a great wealth of place to steal stuff, as it were. So,
Get
although,
inspired.
is it stealing if people are offering it up? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. And if it is stealing, it's just stolen from somebody else like that stole it before. Really,
No kidding.
I'm
No
convinced
kidding.
it was either Adam or Eve, one of them, who did the first picture, and then it's been ripped off like that since. Yeah. No, but what I remember was that there's this guy. He's a teacher, and he does senior pictures on the side. And I remember my first thought was like, well, he can't be that good, And then I seen then you started posting pictures, and I was like, crap, I mean, why don't this guy just be a photographer? I don't get the whole school thing. So now that I've heard the whole story, I think that's awesome. But anyway, that's kind of what I want to do. Just kind of get everybody to where they kind of know you, and they just kind of pick up on it. And so since you're the artist of the month this month, there we go, front view, side view. And so anyway,
I'm not showing you the top of my head.
that's Tom
That's
Usher, and so thank you so much. Look, I'm gonna stop the recording. I thank you so much for being the artist of the month, hanging out on the Pro Forum, posting many pictures, and anyway, thank you so much.